Hey, folks, if you want early access to episodes as they drop, click that subscribe button, join us, and together we'll fix the broken U.S. healthcare system. We'll see you on the next one.
Get ready to take control of your healthcare. Here's your host, Ray Kober.
I had a goal to be a hospital administrator. Go figure. And in order to be a hospital administrator and looking at the big schools to get your MHA, I knew that I had to have experience. There was no way I was going to be let into one of these big MHA programs if I didn't have some experience under my belt. So I went to the local hospital in Provo. I was going to Brigham Young University, just started with my finance degree, and asked the assistant administrator if I could just empty the trash. It's like, just let me be here and get experience. And he actually said, no, you'd be in the way. That was the best no that I could have ever gotten. So I went up to this little community maternity hospital in a town nearby, Orem Community Hospital. I asked the administrator, hey, I want to be a hospital administrator. I want to get some experience. Is there anything I can do around the shop? And he goes, oh, this would be amazing. There's only a couple of us trying to run this hospital. We have more things to do than we have people to do it. We just bought our first IBM personal computer. We know it'll help us, but we have no idea how to implement it. You would be welcome to come on. So I had the amazing opportunity every afternoon after doing classes in the morning of going up and helping run a hospital, implementing an IBM personal computer, how to do FTE counts. And we did a hospital redesign, got to work with the architects, did a whole bunch of reconciliations, got to put stuff on Lotus 1, 2, 3. In fact, we built one of the very first multi-sheet budgeting systems. I had a blast.
You're dating yourself, sir.
What's
time?
That?
I said you're dating yourself, sir. What time frame are we talking about?
This would be 1983, 84.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So that's crazy. Could you
back when the IBM personal computer first hit the market?
Half of our audience probably can't even remember a time where personal computers weren't a thing. It's just now of course it's ubiquitous.
We all had mainframes. I mean, the hospital was running on a mainframe, and we had this big, huge computer that shot out these big green sheet, things every day, and would hand out all the sheets to the different departments. But the personal computer changed a lot, and it was fun to work with it. Anyway, so while I'm just an administrative assistant helping this guy, his couple of his people run this hospital, the state of Utah sunsetted the certificate of need law. It was the first state in the union to sunset the certificate of need law. And what that is basically a law that says in order to build any new hospital beds, you have to certify that there's a need. Well, Utah became fresh territory to build hospitals. And of course, the easiest and quickest hospital to build is a psychiatric hospital. So within 2 years, 8 brand new psychiatric hospitals opened in Utah. Well, the first one was called Charter Canyon Hospital in my community, Orem. And they came to my administrator, Larry Carter, and said, will you be the administrator of this brand new hospital? And he came to me, this little, just started my finance degree kid, and said, hey, Darrell, there's only 2 corporate offices at a hospital, the CEO and the CFO controller. How would you like to come be my CFO controller? I'm like, wow, what? You want to give me the job that I want after I get my MHA and after I put 10 to 20 years in place? You want to give that to me now?
That's crazy.
How in the world can this possibly be? And so we opened up a brand new psychiatric hospital. At the same time, we purchased another healthcare facility. So I was running 2 healthcare facilities as the CFO controller, and I'm still working on my undergraduate degree.
But Darrell, Darrell, excuse me, you have to unpack that for me a little bit, because no one hands the keys of the kingdom to some 20-something-year-old kid who basically expresses an interest.
5-year-old kid.
There has
he hands me the keys to the kingdom.
So there has to be, some type of an epiphany. You must have exhibited something extraordinary to this man for you to have that opportunity. So, and you just need you to kind of connect the dots for me there.
Yeah, there's no question. I had so much fun every afternoon doing all the projects that I was given. I was on fire. So yeah, there's no question.
You
I
were,
was I was having more fun doing it than I had learning about finances. And I'm like,
wow.
I don't need to go get an MHA from some big school. I got the job I want. I just need the card that says I have a Master of Health Administration.
Right.
And it just so happened that Brigham Young University, at the exact same time, opened up their first MHA program.
Hmm.
And they offered it on an executive style. So I could take classes in the evenings. I'm like, sign me up. So while I'm running those two hospitals, I'm getting my MHA. As soon as I finished that, the regional CFO vice president came to me and said, hey, we're opening up another brand new hospital in San Diego. Your wife's from San Diego. You're finishing your degree. You've got your MHA. How would you like to come open up another brand new hospital?
Wow.
Like, sounds good. My wife would love to live in San Diego.
Right. Who wouldn't love to live in San Diego?
Exactly.
Amazing.
I'll tell you about an experience I had about a year and a half ago, maybe about 2 years now. BYU every year puts on a really great conference for healthcare leaders across the country. And I attended that conference a couple of years ago, and somebody from Providence Healthcare System put up on the board a display showing Providence-owned primary care, Providence-owned specialty clinics, and Providence-owned hospitals, surgical centers, and imaging centers. And there were two very small red dollar signs above the first box, and two very small red dollar signs above the second box, and two very large green dollar signs above the hospitals, ambulatory surgical centers, and imaging centers. And basically his comment was, Providence doesn't make any money in primary care, doesn't make any money in specialty care, but they make a lot of money over here in the hospital. And the arrows were, our preferred referral pattern is to go from primary care to specialty into the hospital. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe somebody's willing to put that on the board. We all know that, but nobody's willing to admit it.
Right.
And he's putting it on the board. And his whole point to these healthcare leaders across the country was, he put up another slide, Amazon buys One Medical. He said, we are losing control. I call it the beast. I call primary care the head of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
We are losing control of the funnel source. When we lose control of the funnel source, we are not going to be able to fill up the hospitals. And we're not going to be able to make our money. We need to change the way we do healthcare. And his comment was amazing. He said, hospitals should compete based on cost and quality. Like, yes, that's what the buyer of healthcare should be forcing the healthcare system to do, instead of buying a plan that has a network where 95% of all the primary care providers in the network are the front door of the beast. Everybody you can go to that's in network is owned by the hospital systems. And we, the hospital systems, by design, require every primary care provider to reach so many relative value units every single day.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't hit your 30 or 40, standard that we're going to cut your salary. You're not going to get your bonuses. And so every doctor at the front end of healthcare, instead of building relationships with people, are trying to make sure they hit their 40 RVUs, procedures, visits, tests, in order to meet their requirements for their salary. They hate it.
Right.
They don't like it.
And
they
so
don't like the fact that they can't spend the time with the patient.
What Darrell is talking about, are relative value units. And most folks are unaware, but the system has turned our doctors into glorified salespeople. And when they drive revenue within the health system that they're a part of, then they earn credits. They earn these relative value units, and they're under, immense pressure to drive revenue within the system, and their very livelihoods are dependent upon it. And it's probably one of the reasons why suicide rates are as high as they are. One of the highest in the medical profession are doctors. Yep. And it's all because of the stress and the weight that the system is putting upon them. It's just unbelievably taxing and toxic, and that is the system that you're describing.
All right, that's a wrap. Hit like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.